Hi there, AGI. Today we have with us Wasim Sayyed, a firecracker of a creative. He currently is a freelance filmmaker, creative director who, in his last role at Disney Star, was leading the on air promotions team for the English movies cluster. Besides that, he's also worked on a lot of creative ideas for various brands. Multi award winning producer and director whose career spans well over a decade. In fact, I think it's about 15 years now. Today, he will talk to us about 30 seconds. That's it, the art of the 30-second promo. Over to you, Wasim.
Hello, everyone, and all the best to AGIF. And I think, first of all, I would like to say that AGIF is really doing a, a great work in bringing the community together. I recently met like all of you at AGIF, and it was so much fun and almost like meeting everyone after like a decade. And I'm looking forward to the next year of AGIF, and I'm sure I'm not going to miss it. Hi everyone, and I am Wasim Sayyed. I am a graduate from NID. I studied animation film design. I joined NID in 2002 and I graduated in 2006. And Pratik was my senior. And I know Pratik from NID days, and we've had so much fun and so many parties together. so yeah, I came to Bombay in 2006 when I was doing my NID final year diploma project, which again I joined at Hangama TV where Pratik was working, and we worked on so many promos together, and it was quite a fun environment to work on because it was very new to me. This whole world of television, I'd never seen it. So that was my first intro to 30 seconds and the fascinating world of 30 seconds and the storytelling that it just starts at 0 seconds and ends at 30. That's your life, most of all. So yeah, 2007, I officially joined Hangama TV as an associate promo producer, and there was an entire team. So this creative team in any television channel is called the OAP team, which is on air promotions team, and they take care of all the creative requirements of the marketing and promotional activities. So most of it is 30-second promos. It could be lesser, it could be 20, it could be 10, it could be those 5-second bumpers, it could be Aston bands, bugs, a lot of things. Some of you might have heard of these terminologies like Aston bands and bugs. Some might not know. So Aston bands are basically those uh, lower thirds, or those bands that come in the at the bottom actually, which sell you stuff, basically about any program or a brand. And bugs are on the top right or top left corner of your screen. And promos are 30-second video promos that you see in the breaks. So the promos is a promo is basically to tell you what uh, what is coming next, or what is tonight's 9 p.m. movie, or what is this Saturday's premiere movie, or what is the new campaign coming up on Christmas or in Diwali, or what's something new that's coming on the channel. So this was what we started working on, and it requires, there's a process to it. So it starts with writing the idea, what you want to say in this promo, and after that you figure out how you want to execute it. It could be as simple as a voiceover with a video, or it could be a stop motion animation, or it could be cell animation, or it could be 3D animation, motion graphics. It could be a shoot. It could be anything. It all depends on what your idea is and what is the marketing objective behind that promo. So mainly it is an OEP team works in tandem with the marketing team, and the marketing team have an objective to achieve, which is the TRPs or the numbers or the growth of the channel, etc., etc. So we generally get a brief saying we want to promote this show or this movie and OAP has to figure out how you want to promote this, and how much time you have. So honestly, you don't have too much time. You'll hardly have 2 days or 3 days or a week max, unless it's a big campaign with 3 films, where you will have, let's say, a month. But that has to be a very big campaign. But your daily life is about churning out promos, 30-second promos in 4 to 5 days max. And you will be working on 10 other different things also. You'll be writing, you'll be assisting somebody. So yeah, to all the budding aspiring people who want to join television, a red flag to all of you. It's not what it looks like. It's quite a roller coaster of a ride. It's crazy. It's madness basically. It's just pure madness, and you have to have that madness in you to survive this madness. It's kind of that. And so yeah, keep the madness alive is what I would say to all the students who are watching this. Never let this fire die, and think crazy stuff. Don't be afraid of presenting anything that's crazy or stupid. Okay? And have fun with your ideas, with your creatives. Go all out. Never hold your thoughts back when you're thinking of any creative. Just go all out, and don't be shy in presenting this idea to anyone, be it a CEO of a big company, or any brand manager. Just, you never know what will strike and what will work. So believe in your idea, and believe in the craziness, and believe in the madness, because that's what it is about. So yeah, that was my start to. We had crazy bosses. We had bosses who would tell us, uh, I want this by evening, or they will tell us, tonight we are going to Goa, and finish all your work by 6 p.m., and then we are off to Goa. So there are all kinds of bosses here, and those were like golden times of television, where we actually had too much fun, because also at that time there were lesser restrictions on copyrights and stuff like using a particular kind of music for your promo. So we could use an Iron Maiden song for our promo, and nobody would even question who owns the copyright, or which label. And now it's not like that. Now things have changed over this 15 years, 10-15 years. You can't use any music, you can't use any, you have to buy it, you have to spend lakhs of rupees just to use that 30 seconds of audio in your promo. So again, it's a fight. Like, you have to justify to your boss whether it makes sense to spend 10 lakhs of, yeah, 15 lakhs towards buying a song for a promo which is only going to play for 7 days on the channel. Are we going to make enough money out of it? Is it even worth it? Is it even worth spending those 10 lakhs for 7 days? If it is, and it might be also, then it makes sense. But otherwise, you also, as creative professionals, have to see the business side of it, and also understand the business side of it. We can't live in this creative shell and say, oh, this is what I like, this is what I want to do. It doesn't work like that. So it is good to have the madness and the craziness, but with a balance of understanding where the other person is also coming from and what is the objective. Don't stray away from the objective and build your own, some creative output, because that will not work, because it has to sell also. So again, it's a another, like, you know quite a elaborate topic to talk about, is how to sell your creative, because that is also very important. And I keep telling anyone who I meet, and or I'm teaching, that creating is one part of it, and selling it is another, equally like 50% part of it. If you can't sell, your creative is not going to work. So again, thinking about all the correct objectives and working towards it, which will decide on what kind of treatment you want to go with it, or what kind of animation, or what kind of music, or what kind of voiceover will work for it. So yeah, there are different kind of working logistics, I would say. Sometimes you have money, sometimes you don't have any money. So sometimes you don't even have time. Forget money, you don't even have time. You might have 6 hours to make a promo, and you would still have to come up with a kick-ass promo. You can't say because I had 6 hours I couldn't do it, because that's the challenge. How to, so you are basically like a one-man army. A promo producer is like a one-man army. You are like a tank, and you have to just battle out these obstacles that are in front of you, and just roll all over them, and get to the point where you want to reach, and just fire everyone who comes in the way. So yeah, so it's like, you will have to fight a lot. I mean, I've had numerous battles with people from different departments, where they are not understanding what I'm trying to say, they are not understanding the creative, they have their own feedback, they have their own ideas. So it is not going to be easy. There are fights, but I think these fights are also healthy. It's not like I'm not listening to you just because I don't want to listen to you. It's not that. It's about, okay, if you don't think this works, tell me why it doesn't work, and let's figure out a solution. But if you're just telling me this doesn't work because मेरे को अच्छा नहीं लगता, तो अच्छा लगने के लिए यार तू मतलब मूवी जाके देख, या आइसक्रीम खा ले. सो सो अच्छा लगने के लिए प्रोमो नहीं बनाया. So so there'll be fights, there'll be people who will disagree with you, but all of these things is kind of a learning process, where you learn to uh, manage people management. It's such a big task. People management, whether it's your own team, or whether it's your peers, or whether it's interdepartmental dynamics. All this you will learn at the job. So that's why I say, once you become a promo producer, it's almost like after that you can do anything, because you've learned all the small aspects of it, and now you're like, everything. So yeah, it's more like a training ground, to go to the next level of your, or next step of your life, where you want to be a freelance creative director, or you want to be a established director, you want to direct ad films, you want to direct films. Obviously these are very different games. I mean, directing a film is very different than directing a promo, because there you're dealing with a lot of other, it's a different storytelling structure. So if you know the art of storytelling, if those fundas are clear in your head, I'm sure you can do it. But yeah, at least you know the behind the scenes logistics, and you know the money aspect of it, you know the labor aspect of it, you know how much time it takes to create something like this, or how I work with an editor, or how I will work with an online artist, how I will color grade my film, how I will do my audio mixing, what is the correct level of audio mixing. We listen to so many songs, we watch so many movies, but hardly we pay attention to the details of what a sound engineer would have, what a nightmare of a task it would be for a sound engineer to get those dialogues right, to get those levels right. And that's how that scene is so impactful, because of that. So it is acting, it is lighting, it is about sound design also, it is about music also, it is about so many other things. So that's what a promo producer learns. So many things that you are exposed to when you're shooting. You speak to cinematographers, and you learn the art of lighting your shot, how it's lit and why it's lit like that. Like my my previous boss used to, when we were like bachas, he would ask us on the shoots, and go and ask the DOP, what is the focal length of the lens. And we would be shit scared, because this DOP will be some big shot DOP, and who will say, chota bacha ko he'll say bhag idhar se, you know but we will still go and ask, and we would know, okay, oh theek hai, this shot is being taken at 50 mm, and this shot was taken at 75 mm, and what is the difference, like, then you kind of sit and analyze also, which will help you in future, why it was 75 mm, why it was 50 mm, why it was 35, why it was a wider shot, and why it wasn't a tele shot. So these are things that you will learn, and it's fun, it's crazy, it's mad, it's tiring, but it's fun. At the end you will love it, at the end you will enjoy it. and you will learn so many things, man. You will learn so many things. It's yeah, obviously things are changing now. It's there are OTT platforms, the television viewership is kind of changing. People are changing what they're watching also. People are changing what they are eating also. Things are changing. So yeah, even OAP, the working structure of OAP has also kind of changed. It's evolved. There's a lot of freelancers involved. There are a lot of production houses involved, third parties involved. So yeah, it's more of a management and a creative job. It's not just a creative job.
Sorry, just to add to this line of thought that you're saying, I think the most important thing that you mentioned was the ask the question why
Yeah,
is this
yeah, wow.
happening, why is this there, ye kar kyun rahe hain? That I think
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very good
Correct.
point that you hit on. Another very good point that you hit on was the fact that even though the the consumption patterns of people are changing,
Mm.
but the art of the sell or the art of the communication will
Yeah,
still remain the same. It's just the treatment that has changed, or the platform
mm.
that has changed. I think that's largely
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the approach angle. Sorry.
Correct. The storytelling is not going to change. That is going to be the same. It's just that the structure has changed. So you have to adapt to these new structures. I'm sure the structure will change again in the next 10 years. And if we don't adapt, we will die. So it's all you have to adapt to these changes, whether it's technology, AI, this, that, whatever, and kind of stay true to your storytelling always, and just like yeah, keep shifting the gears and keep driving. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, I have a few promos with me where I can share a couple of examples of what a full-fledged shoot looks like, or what a jugaad no money shoot looks like. And then maybe we can talk about that also, in brief, how it was done and some things behind it. This was a shoot which was this was a promo that was done in one night, shooting in the office with some jugaad DSLR and some Lego bricks, and some lights that were hired by asking for asking favors. So I'll just play it and then we will talk about it. This is the police. Come out with your hands above your head. Action at 8. This June, every night at 8.
Lovely,
So,
man.
yeah. So this was made by me and a colleague of mine at office, Mahan. Uh, Both of us sat for like one night, and this action at 8 was so. How the brief came to us was there's this slot called action at 8 on Star Movies Action. It was a channel, now it's not there. So Action at 8 was a slot where we were showing some big movie at 8 p.m. And the promo for Action at 8 used to be a very generic edit based promo that we used to cut every month, and we were kind of bored by looking at the same kind of promo every month. So we thought, let's do something different. But also this slot was not very important for as a marketing objective. So they don't want to spend money on it. So the idea was to how to make an interesting promo without spending too much time or too much money on it. So we said, okay, we sat and we kind of brainstormed, and we finally arrived at this idea of doing a stop motion animation with Lego bricks. And all we asked for, like, just we begged for like the 7,000 rupees to just buy these Lego bricks. And finally that was approved. And
What are you
we
saying? One second. Sorry.
started.
Like this was like shoestring, matlab next level.
Next level, yeah. So I'll tell you in detail. So we bought Lego bricks for 7,000 rupees. That was the first spend on this promo. And second was 3,000 rupees on two LED panels. There were these two square panels that you hire. So it's like 3,000 rupees per day. And yeah, that's it. That's all we spent. That was like 10,000 rupees. and I think we used our creative heads camera, DSLR. So 10,000 rupees was the budget for this promo. So yeah, that's all. And after that, then next day it was short. Also, we needed some space to shoot it, because we needed like a huge table, and like where we had to put this gray cardboard behind and all that for lighting. We had no DOP, by the way. We had to light it all by ourselves. So we actually waited for everyone to leave office in the night, and then we got hold of one room in which we shot this, and we, I think, packed up by 6 a.m. when we were like really really sleepy. Mahan was also sleepy, I was also sleepy. We left at 6 a.m., and next day we came and we edited this, and it was ready by evening. So the sound design and everything was ready by, it was done offline editing, and then taken to obviously a mixing studio where it was mixed properly, and it was presented, and it was approved. So this is also a kind of learning for us, where your daily work is not going to be very exciting. It's going to be actually quite boring, and so every day you can't fight. Every day can't be a battle. So you have to pick your battles, and you have to know exactly when to strike. That's very important. So you wait for the correct opportunity, and then once that opportunity arises, you don't let it go. So you say, I want to do this. Give me 10,000 rupees, I'll do it. I still want to do it. And don't let that opportunity go. And then you will achieve something which you will like, which you will want to show somebody, which you will be keeping it in your portfolio and dear to you. you know so that is important, that you can't do this every day. Your everyday life will be doing those 30-second promos of Finding Nemo and Big Hero 6. But that's fine. That's a part of your job. That's your job. You still do it and wait for something interesting to come, or you make something interesting. In cricket, you say, okay, like there was this guy called John T. Rhodes. If I don't know if today's generation knows this name, but John T. used to make the catches. It wasn't a catch. The ball is not even that high, but he would jump and catch it. So it was not actually a catch, but he makes that into a catch. So I'll just play this promo. This was also a semi jugaad kind of shoot. It was also shot at office, but we had a slightly bigger room and slightly better lights. But all of this was, yeah, it was very less money.
What story do you see here? Do you see the origins of painting? Or the mysteries of evolution unraveled? Do you see a fierce uprising? The forging of new boundaries? Or do you see life's simple pleasures relished by the free-spirited? Once Upon a Nine, a new story every night at 9. On Star Movie Select HD. 365 days, 365 stories. Hollywood's Hall of Fame.
So again, yeah, this was also done with semi jugaad. You kind of don't have too much to play with. You don't have too much budget, and like just one day of shoot, we had to shoot three. In the series, we shot three films like this, and yeah, so this is again one of the regular slots of your channel, where nothing much is expected out of you, but you still go one step ahead and say, I want to do something cool. I want to do something bigger than what I regularly do every day. So again, like another of the battles that you fight to do what you want to do. And yeah, then I have a couple of other promos where you
Tell me, tell me
actually,
something. Just a little bit more on this, like the Once Upon a Nine series. I think you guys
yeah,
won a couple of Promaxes for it as well.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So just walk the audience through this as well in terms of how you took something with such limited budget and such limited time, and then turned it into the creative gold that it was as a campaign. I think which ran over multiple seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yeah. So
So,
yeah. So this channel Star Movies Select was launched with a very different view in mind. It wasn't launched for the for the TRPs. It was launched as a perception channel. So Star Movies is your main bread and butter channel, which was about revenue and which was about bringing in the ads and uh, bringing in the TRP. Star Movies Select was more about showing films that are um, award-winning films that would have won an Oscar, or it would have been nominated for an Oscar, or things that are not very mainstream. So things that movies that you would ideally not watch on any other TV channel also. So a curated kind of a, it's like a festival. So like a curated basket for you to watch on TV. So a completely dedicated TV channel for the real movie buffs, I would say. So that was more about what this brand was. So even if you look at the branding of Select, it was done in a very simplistic white, white plain panels, very simplistic style, which the branding team had designed. And the launch campaigns, I would show some of the launch campaigns of SMS. So there were different slots for it, and Once Upon a Nine was one of the main slots on the channel. Another one which was really important slot for us was Films to See Before You Die, and that was such a interesting slot, because we were curating movies which you have to see before you die, so that was a fun thing to do. There was one more slot called Book Adaptations, where movies were made from a book basically, and I have a promo to show for that also. So these were very interesting slots, I would say, on this channel, which was new, which was fresh. It was something that people were talking about. It was not following the herd. It was something different, and which is why I think it worked also. And I think it's a brave step for a company to do, because now you don't see that happening, because it's a race for TRPs and it's a race for money. But when you talk about perception building, you don't have to necessarily worry about TRPs. But again, it's not generating any business for you as per se in the current time, but it will help you later, later somewhere, in bring building your other brand, or building this brand later. So yeah, I mean, that was what SMS Star Movies Select was all about, and which is why I think most of our awards that we have won, all these 20-30 awards that we have won, the Promaxes, they've all come from Select work. I don't think, apart from a few exceptions of Star Movies, most of them we won for doing Select work, because that was something. It was such a fascinating brand to work on, and I really like miss this brand now. I mean, it was
what
fun to
what
work with.
what were the kind of timelines that you had to work with on these?
So it will depend on what kind of promo it is. If it was a regular edit-based promo, even Select edit-based promos would look very different from Star Movies promos. Because if you are cutting a promo for Avengers, it will be about all these dham dhoom and masala, and all the action and the voiceover, and it's a very trailerish promo, you have to show action, big huge supers, graphics, this, that, everything. But when it's about Select, it's a subtle tone. The tone changes completely. It's more about the storytelling, the building of your characters, building the story. Slightly longer promos. It was not about धड़ाम धूम होके खत्म हो गया. It was not that. It was more about the art. It was more about the craft. So that's why we loved working on this brand more, because here you had more creative liberties to work on. It's more high. It was shot in one day, but it was a huge set, so we had divided the set into two different parts for these films. And these were the films with which the channel was launched. So these were the launch film, the launch campaign of SMS. I'll just play.
You are not the writer. You are not the music composer. You are not the choreographer. You are not the actor. You are the movie. Live the movies you watch. Star Movies Select HD. 365 days, 365 stories. Hollywood's Hall of Fame.
So yeah, we selected two movies. One was Black Swan, and one was Taxi Driver, and these were the kind of films that were showcased on the channel. So we selected these two iconic films, and yeah, I'll just play the second promo also.
You are not the writer. You are not the director. You are not the cinematographer. You are not the actor.
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me?
You are the movie. Live the movies you watch. Star Movies Select HD. 365 days, 365 stories. Hollywood's Hall of Fame.
So yeah, these were two elaborate. So these were big shoots. It requires like a huge team. You do storyboards, you do rehearsals, you do auditions, you select the actors you want to work with. So there are a lot of presentations to your bosses, super bosses. You kind of have to have everybody aligned towards this. Where with that whole selling part that I was talking about is very important here. Where whatever you're trying to do, everybody has to be convinced by it because it's not a small thing. It's going to be a big spend. So yeah, a lot of this requires a slightly bigger, I would say, planning, and a lot of planning, in fact, and a lot of meetings would happen, even post shooting. While you're presenting, then maybe this music doesn't work or this voiceover doesn't work. Then what do you do? There are a lot of firefighting that you need to do on a shoot. Shoot is a very different game. I would say shoot is another topic to discuss and a detailed topic to discuss because in my journey of these 10 to 15 years in television, shoot has been the most integral part of my work, and which is what I'm pursuing now as a career as a director also. That and I'm very attached to the sets, the whole craft of shooting, and what I've learned from people, from the colleagues that I've worked with, from the cameraman to the action artists, the actors, the action directors. There's so many things we have done, which people had told us that this is going to be impossible to shoot. Where people had told us this is impossible to do it in one day, and we still managed to pull it off, shooting three different films in three different locations in Bombay, traveling in from SL World to Kolaba, and shooting three different films at three different sites, all done in like a day. And we still pulled it off because of the whole teamwork. We had to have a different crew waiting for us at Kolaba who are ready to roll as soon as you go there. And there's a different crews set up at Malad and at Borivali. So all of this madness is a part of shoot, and how you pull it off, it's a different game. uh, so yeah, which also you kind of learn by assisting people and by working and seeing hundreds of shoots. You will know exactly what to do, and you can do it in the given time. It just requires a kick-ass team, you know.
Hmm.
It's not a one man job. It's not a one man army here. This is about teamwork, and teamwork again is very important part of this job. So yeah.
Well said. Really well said.
So yeah, I have a very challenging shoot to discuss, which was Faces of Cinema. So we this was again for Star Movie Select, and there was this signature styles karke. There was this show where we were showcasing movies that were movies that were directed by three particular directors. It was Tim Burton, it was the Coen brothers, and it was Martin Scorsese. There was James Cameron. There was M. Night Shyamalan. So these were a couple of directors we were celebrating, and there was a festival where we were showcasing films made by only these guys. And I wanted to create their faces, and it was called Faces of Cinema. And the idea was to create these faces as if it was an illusion. So you break down the face into hundreds of layers, but each layer is made of some object which is crucial to their filmmaking style. So, what a Martin Scorsese, what kind of elements you would see in a Scorsese movie versus what kind of elements you would see in a James Cameron movie. So that was we wanted to make these faces, and initial boards were made, and initial ideas were discussed, and the overall feedback was, why not create this in 3D, because then it's so simple. You just create these 3D objects and you move your camera, and you at only at one point you see the face. So it was quite easy to do that, but it required a lot of modeling. You have to model each and every object, unless you are getting ready-made objects. But it was still, to me it was not challenging, to me it was not fascinating, it was not something, something cool to do. It was not something that was interesting to do. And it'll look very fake. It won't have that organic feeling to it. So I wanted to shoot this and create these huge 12 feet 10 to 12 feet faces, which were made by actually hanging objects in the air. And when I discussed this with the art director, the first meeting was, he was like, "ये तू पागल है," this is not going to happen. And we still said, no, 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 wait, let's figure out. So then the entire team sat, and uh, all four of us who were in the team, we started making these faces in Photoshop first. What it'll look like. So the graphic designer and everybody, the other producers who were with me, they all started exploring these faces and creating them these in Photoshop. And once we were convinced to that, now yeah, it looks like him, then we showed it to the art director, and then an entire plan was made how these will be made. And we had to give the set to the art director for a couple of days to create. He needed space to work because it was huge set and huge faces. And we had to go every night to the set and see what is the progress, how it was made. And certain things that were not working, we had to do some firefighting for that. And once we were convinced with the faces, the next day we did shoot the promo, and I'll play the promo.
What do you think we're doing out here in the middle of the desert? It's all this money. This is the end result of all the bright lights, and the count trips, of all the champagne, and free hotel suites. It's all been arranged just for us to get your money.
Sky people have sent us a message, and they can take whatever they want. No one can stop them. We will send them a message.
Where do you see right now? I see dead people. Do you say E.T.? E.T. E.T.
Too good. Like, very
So
nice. Love
this,
it.
this wasn't like such a madness on the shoot day, because everything was pre-planned, everything was going according to the plan. So unlike shooting with actors where things would go wrong, you're making a set, this was all like, going in the flow. The madness part was creating those faces, and that was because to hang these tiny tiny objects in the air, so we realized that if you just so you have these transparent plastic wires, so if you hang a bottle, it'll keep moving, it'll keep rolling. So how do you make it steady? So you need two more threads to tie it to the ground. So you need to tie half the things to the ground also, and to the roof also. So and then you have to walk in between these tiny tiny threads to correct things, small things. So that was a task to do, but it was fun, and finally we achieved it. So like after, once you see that face in front of you, then you feel so proud about what you created. So yeah, and of course we won awards for this promo also later.
Who was
uh,
the art director on this one?
Art director was Parichit. He's a very good friend of mine, and he has art directed most of my shoots in Star. And recently, I had done an ad film where again he was the art director. So it's all also about people you kind of get tuned with, and then you want to work with, a set of people, because that becomes your core team. That this is my DOP, this is my art director, this is it, this is my line producer. And if I get this team, then I will not be worried about on the shoot day. Otherwise, if you're working with somebody else, you will still get it, but you won't be that confident, because you're working for the first time or whatever. So yeah, from my initial days in TV to till now, I worked with so many DOPs and so many art directors that now I know with whom I want to work for what kind of work, and who would do the best job.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you, first of all, for showing us, some of, I'm sure, like a large body of work that I have also seen over the years. But, just showing us the few pieces that you felt fit in this pie to complete the larger picture. But having said that, there are a lot of questions that pop up. First and the biggest question that even we, when we were in the promo space working for a network, used to be budgets, and you hit upon it very nicely in terms of mentioning certain numbers. But what is the average shoot budget these days for a promo? I mean, obviously a low budget, medium range, and like the massive campaigns that run.
So these, it's funny because these numbers have changed quite a bit. So there was pre-COVID numbers, and there are post-COVID numbers. so, I'm sure people would know, the brand managers would know what I'm talking about. So even, but this goes throughout, like this goes as a blanket thing for everything that's happening in the industry, for ad films, for films, for everything, not just for television. Pre-COVID was a very different number, and post-COVID, obviously, it's a very different number because now people have become slightly more conservative, I would say, in terms of spending money, whether it's an ad film or a television promo. So while if you say pre-COVID it was 30-35 lakhs for a medium range promo, people would say now we don't want to spend more than 10 lakhs. Just do it under 10 lakhs. That is the kind of shift that has happened. And obviously that's also because of the global impact on everything, whether you call it recession or you call it whatever, or post COVID. But I still think it will take some bit of time to come back to the pre-COVID numbers, because everybody is so conservative and so careful in spending right now because of what's happening globally, be it the war going on, or things are very unstable, I would say. And once the market is stable, I think that's when we will see things going back to what it was. So I think if I just talk about the pre-COVID numbers, a medium range promo where you shoot with actors, with a set, with an art director, with a DOP kind of a thing, that would cost you about, I think I would say 30-35 lakhs. That's a medium range promo. Low budget promo would be less than 10 lakhs. That would be a low budget, still a shoot with a good camera and a cameraman and a small crew. A really jugaad shoot will be from zero, like no money, to whatever, हाँ जो खर्चा पानी है मैकडोनल्ड का खाने का पैसा मिल जाएगा तुमको, like that would be kind of a budget you would get. And a high budget shoot where it's a campaign of 3 films, for example, then it would be 30 lakhs into 3, so you might get a budget which is close to less than 1 cr. But this is again very very rare to see in television. But I have done promos like this, I've done a campaign like this. But now to imagine that kind of a scale, it's close to impossible in television channels, especially English channels. Because also, if I just talk about little more on how these budgets vary from channel to channel. If you have a Hindi channel, which is your main channel, which is where the entire network is surviving on, whether it's Star Plus or a Sony channel, or a Z, these are your main 3 big elephants, who are driving the entire network. If they sit, then the entire network will die. So these are your main horses. So the spend on this, because they will have an IPL, they will have a Kaun Banega Crorepati 2, they will have something like a World Cup, a cricket World Cup, or they will also have your main shows, your Hindi GEC. And there the spends are much more than what I'm talking about. There the spends will be a lot more, because there the kind of money you're talking about, the kind of campaign you're talking about, it's a much bigger campaign. Like a KBC, because of the reach of a KBC or the reach of a Indian Premier League would be unbelievably different than a reach of Star Movies Select, because of obvious reasons. So that's how you know that's how the shoot cost also varies uh, across the board, or like an OTT platform, or what a Netflix would spend, or an Amazon Prime would spend on a campaign. So these are very different numbers if you talk about. But I was talking purely on kind of promos that I have worked on, and the English genre in the market. But now even I am even having said that, even the mainstream Hindi GC is also not spending so much money these days. So they are also, in this whole 30 to 50 range. I would say everybody is working in that kind of a range.
The next question being that you were talking about the 30 second and having to sell in the 30 second. Is there a mechanism to the promo that you follow? Like how I remember we used to always look at it as a three-act play, for example. Do promos also follow some sort of a mechanism?
No, no, there is no absolutely no mechanism to a 30-second promo. It's actually a different ball game for every promo, because every promo will have to serve a different purpose. A Lion King promo will be very different, or a kids promo will be very different, and an edit promo will be very different than something that's a campaign where there's a mix of two three movies. So I don't think there's any structure to storytelling here. It's always the idea, and I think it's more about how to create a promo that's clutter breaking, and that's very important because as a physical activity, you just imagine yourself watching TV, and you have to just be in those shoes, and then imagine if somebody is watching TV. He's so busy, like you will be on your, you will have a phone in your hand, you might have somebody sitting next to you and who's talking to you. You might have a kid who is saying, Papa, I want to go out, take me out, take me out, take me out. There'll be a dog, or there'll be something going on outside your building. In all this chaos, you are still watching your TV, and in the break you have that window of 30 seconds to sell and come out. You just have that much window. In that window also you have other commercials playing. You have a Fevikwik ad playing, you have a Sabunka ad playing, you have a shampoo, you have chips, you have this, you have a chocolate. In the middle you will have 30 seconds to show a promo which says tonight's 9 p.m. movie is this. And how well you create this promo, that out of all of this craziness that's happening non-stop on the TV, somebody will remember. If people don't remember, your promo fails basically. If somebody doesn't remember what's the 9 p.m. movie, your promo didn't work. So how will somebody remember that, oh, tomorrow I'm making this appointment in my head, that, oh shit, tomorrow is Avengers, I am not going to miss it. That is your job. And how well you create that promo which is clutter breaking. So that clutter breaking is that whole clutter that's going on in front of you. You have to break it and concentrate ke boss ye dekh sab chhod. That is what is important. So building that is more important than, I think, having any structure. So it's all up to you, whatever you want to say, whether you want to have no voiceover, whether you want to have just a voiceover, whether you want to have just one scene play, or whether you want a montage, whether you want just a black screen. It'll still work if your idea works with just one super. So it's different for everything. But yeah, more importantly, people have to remember that they've seen this promo. At one point the marketing team had done a research, and they had shown our promos to random people in different cities. So the interesting fact was they remembered watching this promo on TV. They didn't remember the channel, on which channel they saw the promo. So they would have seen like a Lion King promo, but they would say, "Oh, I don't remember whether I've seen it in Sony Pix, or whether I've seen it on Movies Now, or whether I've seen it on Star Movies." So that was a very good insight of that activity, that people don't remember your channel. So it's how do you make sure that people also remember कि 9 o'clock देखना तो है but किधर देखना है. so yeah, so things came out of that exercise also, and then we made sure that people will remember on which channel they have to go, because there is so much to consume that you don't remember where to go.
What are your views on A/B testing? That is something that happens a lot with content for the web, for digital, and going forward, in which the same idea but two versions of it are created and then tested with a focus group
Yeah.
to then go with whichever direction.
uh,
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not very keen on doing this, because I don't agree with this. See, it's not about creating an A or a B. It can actually be A, B, and C, or it could be A, B, C, D, and E. You can create n number of versions, and you can go on showing it to see what are these focus groups. To be honest, the focus group is not more than 100 people. How is 100 people going to decide what 100 crores are going to watch? What is this logic behind focus groups? So everybody, every marketing person is talking about focus groups. That my thing is, uh, so okay. So I've got arguments to this also, saying this is followed globally, hence we follow it. But then I think it's just following the herd without any logic. Globally ho raha hai, so we also have to do it. That's not a logical argument. This is textbook. But showing two different and saying, oh, this one works. Uh, so okay, out of 100, if 60 people said this works and if 40 people said this work, if you do it again, are you really sure that you will get the same proportion, or you will get a 40, you will get a 80-20, or you will get a 50-50, or
Or
you
you
keep
change the questions only. No, you change the
yeah,
dynamic
yeah,
of the question and the answer will
yeah,
change.
yeah, or you bring in a C and then see what happens to your A and B. So this can never end. It, to me, it's actually not having confidence in your own product. So
Okay.
yeah.
And I have the last question for right now, which
Hmm.
is what would you like to say to the budding students out there, people who
Hmm.
want to work with short formats, who want to work with, shorter narrative structures? Any words of advice for them and for the future?
Hmm. Uh, yeah, a lot of advice. First of all, it's a jungle, so be prepared to fight this fight and survive. So it's a jungle, like you have to survive. At the end, you might be dead, or you might survive. You might get out alive. So if you want to get out alive, then you need to understand the art of survival. And the art of survival is to have, first of all, have the madness in you and have trust in your madness. Don't let anybody apart from you tell you that your madness is not right, this much craziness, this much wackiness is not needed, it's not right. Screw all of it. Just believe in what you're creating. Believe in all the concepts that come to your head. Believe in all the dreams that you have, all the ideas that are there in your head. Note it down, write it down, write your ideas. Because it happens with me a lot. I would suddenly get an idea while I'm sleeping in the night at 2 o'clock, and you almost feel like I want to get up and write it down, because in the morning I'll forget about this. And that's what actually happens. You get up in the morning and you actually don't remember what was that idea. So whenever you have a crazy idea in your head, just write it down. Write it down anywhere. Keep a notepad in your near your pillow, and just keep writing these notes in that, all the crazy ideas, and implement it somewhere, wherever. Not today, not tomorrow. Whenever the opportunity arises, you implement that idea. And also have a lot of patience. You need patience to survive this jungle. You will have a lot of ups and downs. You will have a lot of people tell you it's not working, or whatever. I mean, you need to have that patience to slowly climb the ladder, because I think the current generation is also very impatient. Something I have realized and I have seen. So a recent study had revealed that a human attention now, like on your phones, is just 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, you want to change. So
Bro, what are you saying? What
yeah,
is
yeah.
just three?
In fact, I'll tell you what. In fact, I know someone who's actually building this whatever kind of a lab where they're only creating 3 second content. So
भाई क्या होगा ये?
actually creating 3 second contents is going to be a thing in future, where right now we're talking about 30 seconds, people will be sitting and talking about 3 seconds. Because that's
Wow.
where the human attention span has shrunk down to, like 3 seconds. So because it's also like you look at reels and you keep scrolling right on your phone, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or anywhere. So after 3 seconds, if the product has not grabbed your attention, you move on. So you have the initial 3 seconds in your video to either grab him or he's gone.
I mean, countering this line of thought, we've always had the first 3 to 5 seconds as the hook, yeah. Like when in promos, our first 5 seconds used to be the hook. Like if you couldn't get
Yeah,
the eyeballs in the first 5 seconds, it was game
yeah,
over.
yeah.
So that's pretty much the same now also. It's just but like 3 seconds of overall attention span means
Yeah.
मैं इसमें क्या क्या कर सकता है कुछ नहीं कर सकता like literally एक flower डाल देगा बीच में like
So,
what is the
all this came because YouTube had these skippable ads.
Hmm.
So it started with skippable ads, and you could skip only after 5 seconds, right? So it started with 5 seconds that if somebody is not interested in looking at your ad after 5 seconds, he's going to skip you. So that's all. Matlab, even if you show something really, so you know what, like the dumb thing to do, which most of them actually did, was show your brand in the first 5 seconds, because after that, so he's anyway going to skip. I mean, like, that is the dumbest thing to do, because in the 5 seconds you should actually
Yeah,
tease
there's no
him.
brand
You have
connect.
to tease him
Yeah,
to
yeah,
watch more. You have to
yeah,
tease him to watch more.
yeah.
You're actually just bombarding those 5 seconds with your brand. That's killing your ad, matlab. Because then you're already assuming that ye 5 second ke baad to he is anyway going to go. So let me just quickly show my brand, and then it's over. Then you can go. So that's the wrong approach.
Okay, thank you so much, Wasim, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure the viewers will also have a great time. But having said that, please do let us know your questions, and I will pass them on to Wasim. I'm sure he would love to get back to you on with the answers.
It was a pleasure to be on in this video, and I wish you all the best with AGIF and
All of us together, man. All of us
yeah,
together.
all of us together. Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.